Absolutely. Here is section 1 of your HFY sci-fi story. Dust curled along the ridgeline like smoke from an old war god cigar, caught in the low-gravity breeze that never quite obeyed physics on Titan's fractured moon. The jagged rocks, streaked in violet frost, cast long shadows over the forward observation deck of Outpost Terra. 6 Navy SEALs stood at attention on the glassed basalt, full combat rigs humming with thermal regulators and integrated AI scopes. Their leader, Lieutenant Orion Vance, adjusted the grip on his coil rifle and stared across the canyon like he expected it to blink first. She arrived with the supply shuttle. The first thing Cade Rowe noticed wasn't the rifle slung lazily over her shoulder, but the way she walked, deliberate, quiet, like someone who didn't want to be remembered. Her gear was civilian-grade, patched, minimalist. Her rifle looked homemade, its receiver a mix of old alloy and carbon steel. No smart stock. No rail interface. Just a tube, a bolt, and a battered scope that wouldn't pass a Martian customs check. Vance raised an eyebrow. Is that her weapon? No way Command sent her here to fight, muttered Harlan, one of the younger snipers. That looks like something off a 21st century farmstead. She's not listed on the squad manifest, Cade added, checking his HUD. Names redacted. Civilian contractor. No rank. No unit designation. Just a barcode and a title, External Ballistics Advisor. Advisor, heh? Vance exhaled slowly, then motioned toward the landing pad. Let's see what she thinks about vast cloaking fields. Maybe she brought a farmer's intuition. She didn't speak for the first 10 minutes. She knelt near the sniper perch that overlooked Canyon Echo, just behind the forward recon sensors. While the SEALs unpacked drones and calibrated their plasma coils, she rolled out a mat and began assembling her rifle with the kind of care a priest might use to clean relics. Each movement was exact, silent. The components clicked into place without a whisper of wasted motion. Vance walked over, arms crossed. We've got 3 Class 7 sniper rifles, full optical sync, and adaptive environmentals. What's that thing supposed to do? Launch insults at long range? She didn't respond. Cade, ever the curious one, crouched beside her. What's the barrel made of? She looked at him for the first time. Her eyes were a deep gray, like wet metal left out in a thunderstorm. Reinforced graphene with tungsten threading. Internal stabilization matrix runs off analog gyroscopes. Cade blinked. Analog? No signal. No interference. She clicked the bolt forward. It doesn't jam. Ever. That earned a snort from Vance. Right. While we're out here ghost hunting cloaked aliens, you're going to take notes on wind patterns. She met his eyes then. Not confrontational. Just tired. I'm here because I can do what your systems can't. Before Vance could respond, the outpost's commline hissed. A static pulse cleared, followed by the voice of Commander Tiernan from Central Command. Recon Unit Echo 4 failed to report in. Last known position, Sector 17 Gamma, 2 miles past the outer perimeter. Possible VASC contact. Orders, establish visual confirmation. Stand by for engagement authorization. Vance gestured to his men. Lock in scopes. Elevation -3.5. Spotter teams in pairs. Cade and Harlan broke off to deploy a thermal array on the eastern edge. Vance remained beside the woman. Her name still hadn't come up. He wasn't sure she'd even been introduced. She was already prone, rifle balanced on a collapsible bipod no bigger than a wristwatch. Cade sent telemetry from the drone, but it fuzzed into static halfway out. Signals being jammed, Harlan reported. VASC tech, likely. Cloaking field extends farther than we thought. No drones. No aerial recon, Cade muttered. They're daring us to spot them manually. Vance lay flat beside the woman, adjusting his scope. Through thermal optics, he could see faint movement along the canyon wall, too far and too faint for any AI to register as hostile. The flicker of displacement, like heat waves off glass. She didn't look through any digital scope. Just glass. A battered relic of a site with hand-etched elevation ticks. Her fingers hovered over a small wrist pad beside her, scrolling through a spreadsheet of seemingly arbitrary numbers. wind drift, Coriolis variance, lunar spin lag, and something labeled mica wave flux. Cade returned. No luck. Atmospherics are wrecking targeting alignment past 1.5 clicks. Vance exhaled slowly. Too far for a clean shot with plasma coils. Even a rail slug disperses at that range. What are we looking at? 2 clicks. 2.1, she said. That got everyone's attention. Wait, Harlan said, frowning. You're actually going to try that shot? She didn't answer. Her finger slid the bolt forward. You know what, go ahead, Vance said, his voice mocking. Show us how that World War rifle performs against alien ghost tech. She lay still, one cheek pressed to the stock, hands calm. Her breathing slowed. Her eyes narrowed, as if she could see through mountains. A small digital chirp came from her wrist pad. She murmured, "Wind will shift in 37 seconds." Cade raised his eyebrows. What? Wait and see, she said. They did. Exactly 37 seconds later, a gust rolled in from the west, dragging loose grit across the plateau and sending a spiral of dust into the sky. Cade glanced at his environmental reader. That was right. Vance said nothing. Her breath hitched. She pulled the trigger. The rifle barked, not with the whine of a plasma coil or the hiss of compressed rail, but with a sharp, cracking sound that echoed like thunder. The sound didn't match the silence of the plateau. It belonged somewhere older. Earthbound. They all waited. 4 seconds passed. Then the horizon burst into flame. A small explosion shimmered against the canyon wall, followed by a rolling pulse that shook loose shale from the ridgeline. Cade zoomed in. His scope identified the target, a Vask scout walker, cloaked in refractive armor, its central AI core obliterated by a single shot. Vance stood up slowly. That was a core shot. Cade nodded. 2.1 miles. Through a cloaking field. No smart assist. No predictive software. Just her. Harlan's mouth moved without sound. Finally, he managed, "That's impossible." She sat up and began cleaning the rifle. "You're welcome." Nobody laughed. The comms crackled again. Commander Tiernan's voice sounded surprised. Target confirmed neutralized. Clean hit on cloaked walker. Recon team en route to recover remains. Outstanding work. Vance didn't respond. He just watched her work, each movement practiced, silent. He noticed now how the parts of the rifle weren't just old, they were personalized. Scored metal, markings from different worlds, modifications that no regulations would ever approve. He looked at Cade, who still stared at the canyon wall. Who the hell is she? Cade shook his head. Whoever she is, she just outshot every one of us. The woman stood, hoisted her rifle, and walked past them without a word. Her boots kicked up dust, leaving a line of soft prints that trailed toward the edge of the ridge. Vance called after her, his voice quieter now. "What's your name?" She didn't turn. "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." Then she was gone, swallowed by the dusk. Behind her, 6 of the most elite snipers in the solar system stood in stunned silence, weapons lowered, reputations shaken. And for the first time in a long while, Lieutenant Orion Vance realized he had something to learn. Certainly. Here is section 2 of your HFY sci-fi story, continuing directly after section 1. The dust hadn't even settled from the blast before Cade dropped to one knee, realigning his scope to confirm what they'd all just witnessed. The ridge still smoldered where the Vask scout walker had stood seconds earlier, its cloaking field torn open like cheap fabric. A single, impossible shot had vaporized the AI core. No SEAL training module had ever simulated a kill like that. There were no words in the aftershock, only the low hum of environmental regulators and the sound of disbelief clinging to the air. Vance lowered his rifle and stared at the woman's fading silhouette. She hadn't even bothered to celebrate. No smirk, no swagger, just dust trailing behind her boots as she disappeared over the slope. That silence said more than any taunt could. It wasn't just that she had outshot them. It was that she knew she would. Cade broke the quiet. She compensated for phase distortion. That's the only way she could have hit that core through the cloak. Vance remained still, eyes narrowing. That wasn't compensation. That was prediction. He didn't say it out loud, but he felt it, a twist in his gut. Someone else had taken a perfect shot from an imperfect rifle using data that none of his smart gear had even considered. A variable beyond the HUD overlays, beyond the AI-calculated fire corridors. She'd operated on instinct, calculation, something deeper than code. "Sir," Harlan called out from his scope. "You might want to see this." Vance stepped over, crouched beside him, and looked through the shared visual feed. Beyond the remains of the scout walker, another shimmer danced across the canyon wall, larger, slower, stalking in a wide circle. "Another walker?" Cade's voice turned cautious. "Too large. Thermal displacement suggests it's a vast artillery carrier. That thing's cloaking at triple amplitude. Looks like it's waiting for something. Probably for us to come investigate the wreckage," Vance muttered. "Trap. Obvious one. Or it's scouting for something bigger. Either way, we're not shooting our way through 2 miles of distortion with plasma coils." The last line hung in the air. They all turned toward the slope where the woman had vanished, as if expecting her to already know. But she didn't reappear. The team returned to the sniper post, forming a wide perimeter. Cade opened a secure channel to Outpost Terra. "Command, this is Rowe. Confirmed kill on cloaked scout walker at 2.1 miles. New heat signature suggests additional enemy contact, possibly artillery class. We are maintaining overwatch." "Copy, Rowe," the voice returned. "Reinforcements are grounded due to electromagnetic interference. Your eyes and ears out there." Cade looked toward Vance. "If they cloak while advancing, we won't even see them until they're inside the outpost walls." Vance didn't reply. Instead, he activated his tactical board, fingers moving through atmospheric readings. None of it added up. Every calculation said that shot should have failed. Gravity distortion, magnetic eddies, wind shifts, light bend, all of it should have scattered a rail shot or plasma bolt into harmless air. But her bullet had gone exactly where it needed to. "She wasn't guessing," he finally said. "No," Cade agreed. "She was sure." Before he could say more, static burst over the comms, then cleared with a quiet voice. "Don't fire. Not yet." Cade recognized it. Her voice. Calm, clipped, almost too quiet to hear. "Where are you?" Vance demanded into the MIC. A pause. Then, I repositioned to a secondary perch above the canyon. Wider angle. "Your scopes won't reach it." "Why didn't you clear that move with us?" "I'm not in your chain of command." Vance gritted his teeth. "We need targeting data. Tell us what you see." "I see them moving." He froze. "How many?" "3 signatures. Second one's a decoy. The largest is not artillery, it's command. Vask forward unit. You kill that, the rest scatter." Cade blinked. "You're reading their command signals." "Not signals. Patterns." No one spoke. Then she added, "I can make the shot. But I need 30 seconds of no interference. That means no active scanning, no magnetic pulse gear, and no drone sweep." "That's suicide," Harlan said. "You're blind without support." "No," she replied. "You are." "I'm not." Vance took a breath. This woman wasn't just strange, she was operating on a level none of them understood. Every instinct told him to take control, to bring her back inside the perimeter. But something else held him back. The burn in his chest wasn't pride anymore. It was curiosity, and something close to respect. "All right," he said at last. "You get your 30 seconds." "Understood." Then she went quiet again. Cade powered down his drone controller, watching the feedback flatten to black. The hillside darkened without their feeds. They were blind now. All of them, except her. 29 seconds passed. Then her shot rang out again. Sharp, clear, immediate. A second explosion followed, this one larger, deeper, sending a ripple through the canyon that shook the ground beneath them. When the smoke cleared, Cade peered through the returning telemetry. The vast command carrier was gone. Not just hit, destroyed. A clean shot through the forward command dome, detonating the internal power core. Vance stood silent, jaw clenched. There were no orders left to give. She had once again rendered the entire fireteam irrelevant. Then a third voice joined the comm. Tiernan's again, more urgent this time. We've got new intel. That last carrier was coordinating a drop site for vast ground forces. You neutralized it before deployment. Outpost Terra reports no further contact on long-range sensors. Confirmed, Vance answered. And who fired the shot? Tiernan asked. Vance hesitated. Cade looked at him, waiting. Then Vance keyed the MIC. Unknown at this time. There was silence on the line, then Tiernan signed off. Harlan exhaled slowly. He's not going to believe that. Cade smiled faintly. He doesn't need to. We saw it. They waited until dusk before the woman returned. Her figure appeared like a phantom along the upper ridge, rifle cradled in her arms, face unreadable. She didn't speak as she crossed into the perimeter. The SEALs gave her space. Vance watched her approach. You hit a moving target through a refractive cloak. No AI. No drone feed. What the hell kind of software are you using? She knelt beside her mat and began unloading the rifle. It's not software. He frowned. Then what? She looked up, meeting his eyes. Modeling. Manual. I use projected inertia paths based on atmospheric variance and micrograv distortions. I built the calculation table myself. You built it? Yes. He stared at her. Why? She clicked the bolt open and laid it aside. Because nobody else would. Her hands moved over the rifle like they'd done it 1,000 times before, reassembling it with quiet reverence. Cade knelt beside her again, curious. Where'd you learn to shoot like that? Same place you did. Earth. She said nothing more. Later, as the stars emerged and the silence deepened, Vance sat beside the observation node and looked out across the canyon. The wreckage still glowed in the dark, faint plumes of smoke marking the graves of alien commanders. He didn't understand her, not yet. But he understood the truth of what had just happened. She had shown them that all their tech, all their training, all their precision algorithms, none of it mattered if you couldn't see the shot before it existed. Not calculate it. Not guess it. See it. And she could. Vance didn't need to ask where she came from. He didn't need to know what program trained her or which division buried her record. One thing was certain. She didn't belong here. But after today, neither did they. Let me know when you're ready for section 3 and I'll continue the story with the same voice, character focus, and structured intensity. Certainly. Here is section 3 of your HFY sci-fi story, continuing directly from the previous events. A strange quiet settled over Outpost Terra in the wake of the second shot. It wasn't the kind of silence that followed relief or even the stillness of victory, it was heavier. A silence that wrapped around the perimeter like frost, hanging off the railings and buried under every unfinished sentence spoken in the last hour. The kind of silence reserved for people who'd just witnessed something that didn't make sense. Lieutenant Vance stood in the operations tent, hands gripping the edge of the central table. The maps and live feeds flickered with static where alien jamming had once been, now replaced with clear skies and emptiness. The threat was gone. But his mind wasn't settled. Across from him, Cade scrolled through their recorded targeting data. Or tried to. None of their systems had logged anything meaningful. The predictive overlays, shot tracing, and targeting algorithms were all blank during the critical moments. Her shots were invisible to the machines. The computers had nothing to learn from her. Because they had never seen what she saw. Tell me this makes sense, Vance said, voice low. Cade didn't look up. It doesn't. The rest of the squad filtered in silently, faces drawn. No one had joked in hours. No one had touched their rifles since returning from the ridge. She had gone off alone again, not to rest or refit, but to recalibrate on her own terms. Harlan finally spoke. I ran the numbers. Based on her angle, wind speed, and estimated target drift, there's no way to make that shot without predicting where the Vask's active cloak would fail momentarily during locomotion. She didn't wait for failure, Cade replied. She predicted it and shot before it even happened. Vance leaned back, folding his arms. You don't fire before a window opens. Not unless you know the window will be there. Exactly. It still made no sense. In every sniper training module ever designed, including the off-world extended gravity simulators, timing was reactionary. Even predictive systems only compensated by milliseconds. No one could shoot ahead of time and get a hit unless they could read causality itself. Vance rubbed the bridge of his nose. I need to know who she is. Cade tapped a few commands into the ops console, but the encrypted clearance wall blocked him again. Even with direct access as field intel officer, there was nothing. No birth records, no education logs, no military service. Just a code name buried in the metadata of a now deprecated research division. Found something odd, he said. Her rifle serial isn't registered. Not even in black site inventories. Vance turned toward him. Meaning it doesn't exist. Cade rotated the hologram of the rifle she'd used, based on Recon drone imaging. The model wasn't familiar, no known configuration in any Earth command archives. The barrel length, bolt housing, trigger weight, even the cheek weld, all wrong. It had been made for one person, not mass production. She didn't buy that gun, Cade said. She built it. That changed everything. They found her seated at the upper ring of the outpost's outer wall just past midnight, legs dangling over the edge, eyes focused on nothing and everything. The stars above Titan's cloud-ringed atmosphere pulsed with cold indifference. She didn't flinch when they approached. Vance walked up beside her, standing at parade rest. We need to talk. She nodded once, still looking ahead. I figured. Start with your name. She hesitated. It won't mean anything to you. Try me. There was a long pause. Then she said, Dr. Ilara Miles. Weapons Development, Earth Command Research Division. Stationed under Project Delphi. Cade froze. Delphi? That was shut down 5 years ago. I know, she said. I was there. Vance stepped closer. Delphi was the program working on predictive ballistics. You were building an AI to see the future of a battlefield. Her voice was flat. The AI didn't work. But I did. He frowned. Explain. We fed the system everything, weather patterns, terrain shifts, even planetary tides. It could predict battlefield conditions seconds ahead, but the shot still failed. Too many variables. So I started building my own models, by hand. Math no one else wanted to use. Eventually I realized the solution wasn't in teaching machines to calculate faster. It was in removing the machine entirely. That's why you left. For a moment, nothing moved. Then the shooter slowly unslung his rifle and lowered it beside him. You won't make it to the next ridge alive. Every move you've thought about making, I've already mapped it. You die here. No, Ilara said. You lose here. Because I stopped calculating. The man's visor flickered again. You abandoned the algorithm. She nodded. And that's why I'm better now. He moved first. The rifle swung up in a blur of motion, a single pulse of near-silent energy cracking across the canyon. Cade dropped to the ground as it passed over his shoulder, a hair's breadth from his neck. Vance rolled behind cover, drawing his coil pistol, but didn't fire. He knew this wasn't his duel. Ilara didn't dodge. She simply stepped sideways, not reacting, but predicting something even deeper than data. The shot passed harmlessly into the rocks behind her. She didn't flinch, didn't blink. Her rifle came up with a grace that bordered on unnatural, and she fired twice. The shooter was already moving, but one round grazed his shoulder armor, shearing off the edge like it was paper. He stumbled. Not from pain. From shock. She had seen the window before it opened again. Another exchange followed, fast, silent, beautiful in a way only lethal things could be. No targeting AI. No assistive sensors. Just two human minds, hardened by failure, sharpened by belief, calculating reality in real time. Then something changed. Vance noticed it first. The way the shooter hesitated, just half a breath. He wasn't following a plan anymore. He was reacting. Ilara had dragged him out of prediction and into improvisation. That was where he lost the edge. She pivoted, dropped to one knee, and chambered a fresh round. The shooter lunged, hoping to disrupt her rhythm. He fired mid-motion, a desperate burst that carved molten streaks into the dust between them. She ignored it. Her finger tightened. One breath. One correction. The shot punched through his armor at the neck seam. He staggered, dropped to one knee, and reached for his sidearm, but his hand never closed around it. His system sputtered, crackled, then died. Silence followed. Cade slowly approached as Vance kept his pistol raised, breath steady but heart thudding. Ilara stood over the fallen body. She looked down at the visor, then reached out and tapped a switch on the side of the man's helmet. The faceplate slid open with a faint hiss. Beneath it was a man in his 40s, pale and unshaven, eyes bloodshot from overuse of neural enhancement. But the face wasn't what caught Vance's attention. It was the expression. He looked grateful. "I wanted it to work," he whispered. "But it never could. You knew that. You saw what we couldn't." She nodded slowly. "You replaced instinct with computation. I just learned how to aim past both." He coughed once, then exhaled a long breath he didn't take back. The stillness that followed wasn't silence. It was release. Cade knelt beside the body, scanning the rifle left behind. "This isn't Vask. This isn't human standard either. Looks like an experimental fusion of both." "They've been testing hybrid tech," Ilara said. "He wasn't just predicting us. He was learning from them." Vance took a deep breath. "And now? Now the next wave won't just predict our moves," she said. "They'll feel them. This was only a prototype." He looked at her, reading the warning in her eyes. "Then what do we do?" She turned toward the crater's edge, the orange light of Titan's sky bathing her in a soft glow. "We stop relying on the gear. We teach people how to fight without it. We rebuild human warfare from the ground up." Cade laughed once. "You're going to ret-rain the entire army?" "No," she said. "But I'll teach those who are willing." Vance stepped beside her. "You're not doing it alone." She didn't smile, but something in her shoulders relaxed. A weight finally acknowledged. "Then we begin with this team. Right here. Right now." Behind them, the wind began to rise again, carrying with it the scent of scorched circuitry and the cold promise of a new kind of war. But this time, they wouldn't be outmatched. They would be unseen, unreadable, unbreakable. Human. Let me know if you'd like a full compiled version of all 4 sections formatted as a single story file. She nodded. Command wanted faster AI. I wanted cleaner vision. We disagreed. And the rifle? It's the only thing I kept when they decommissioned the lab. Everything else I destroyed. Vance studied her face. She looked tired, not from fatigue, but from years of dragging truth through silence. "Why are you here now?" "Because your satellite net picked up Vask formations moving like they'd learned something new. They've started warping their movement algorithms. Almost human." She turned to face him. "I needed to see if it was just mimicry. Or worse, if they were learning from our own weapons software." "And were they?" "Yes. But they weren't learning from me. That means someone else survived Delphi." Cade inhaled sharply. "You think the Vask got their hands on Earth Command tech?" "Either that," she said, "or Earth Command gave it to them." The words hit harder than any sniper round. Vance felt the ground shift under that possibility. Cade stepped forward. "So you're saying someone from Earth is feeding them predictive combat algorithms?" She nodded. "Or they're selling it. Either way, it means the war just got a lot harder." They sat in silence after that, 3 figures in the dark, the stars above unaware of what had just been unearthed. Vance didn't move for a long time. He'd fought in 13 conflicts across 6 planetary systems. He'd watched friends die from bad data, slow software, and over-reliance on predictive AI. But this was different. This was the system eating itself. Selling the one thing humanity still had, its edge. He finally spoke. "Why didn't you come forward sooner?" "I did," she said quietly. They buried it. I was reassigned, then erased. The only way to be useful again was to disappear and wait for something like this. Cade ran a hand over his face. And now? Now they know I'm alive. And you've seen what I can do. That means they'll come for both of us. Vance stared at her. You could have walked away after that first shot. I never wanted to walk away. I just wanted someone to believe the shot could be made. Cade broke into a quiet laugh. We believe now. Vance nodded slowly. I've led this team for 8 years. Never thought I'd say this, but I want you on Overwatch permanently. She didn't look proud. Just resigned. I won't join your command. But I'll fight with you. That'll do. Behind them, the wind stirred faintly. Across the ridge, the cold metallic skeletons of defeated alien machines shimmered in the dark. The war hadn't ended. But the rules had changed. Vance knew it now. Their scopes, their gear, their advanced predictive networks, none of it mattered without someone who could truly see the battlefield. Someone like her. The three of them sat beneath a sky too vast to care, but their alliance, however temporary, felt like the only thing that mattered anymore. Cade leaned back against a support pylon, gazing upward. So, Ilara, what's the next move? She turned her eyes to the stars. Whoever survived Delphi, they're not done. Which means neither are we. Let me know when you're ready for section 4 **, and I'll conclude the story with a climactic and emotionally satisfying finish. Certainly. Here is section 4 ** of your HFY sci-fi story, concluding the narrative with a climactic and character-driven finale. The briefing room inside Outpost Terra was dim, intentionally so. No overheads, no holoscreens, no projectors humming in the background. Just a single field lamp casting long shadows across the mission table. Vance stood at its head, arms folded behind his back, expression rigid as stone. Cade sat opposite him, thumbing through encrypted reports on a tablet that refused to stop updating. A red dot pulsed at the top of the feed. A new signal. Unfamiliar code. No origin tag. It had pierced their internal network like it knew the rhythm of their encryption before they even changed it. Ilara stood off to the side, silent, but it was her voice that broke the stillness. It's him. Or them. Whoever survived Delphi. Vance didn't question her. He no longer needed to. The signal wasn't an attack, it was bait. Telemetry suggests a dropship landed 5 clicks west of the crater rim, Cade said. No known IFF, and it scrambled 3 of our long-range sensors just by exiting orbit. That's not alien. Vance nodded. Human tech, then. Delphi tech, Ilara corrected. Built for predictive warfields. That means the shooter will anticipate our movements 3 steps ahead. Unless we send someone they can't predict, Cade added, his gaze shifting toward her. She gave no reaction. Outside, the wind howled with its usual fury. Titan's surface churned with chemical dust, and the sky above was a distorted canvas of muted orange and ice-pale blue. The team moved quickly, ghost silent, descending from the outpost toward the ridge with their equipment reduced to its essentials. Vance ordered full power cuts on all AI assist modules. This would be a fight not of machine against machine, but of instinct against code. They found the shooter already waiting. He stood atop a glassed plateau beside a downed vast gunship, his form wrapped in the silhouette of high-grade combat armor, smooth, seamless, no insignia. A long rifle rested across his back, unlike anything Vance had seen before. It looked grown rather than built, the barrel more organic than mechanical. His stance was relaxed, confident, the posture of someone who didn't just expect to win, but had already calculated exactly how. He didn't raise his weapon. Ilara stepped forward, rifle slung low, eyes narrowed. You're from Section Theta. The man's visor pulsed once with a dull green shimmer. Then he spoke. Dr. Miles. They said you were dead. You tried to make sure of it, she replied calmly. The figure tilted his head slightly, then looked past her to Vance. They sent operators. Elite ones. That's cute. They didn't send us, Vance said. We came because she did.